Governor issues executive order to reinstate Orrin Miller to the commission seat. 81-year-old villager escapes prosecution in computer frustration case. Villager's son bond revoked after attack on his parents. A woman involved in satanic ritual pulled out from underneath a bulldozer. A villager was arrested after trying to peek into her neighbor's lanai. Villager suspected of stealing at Walmart and fled in her BMW. A pair arrested in thefts of $654 in merchandise at Walmart at Buffalo Ridge. How many holes in ones of golf did we get this week? Letters to the editor. This and more coming up. This week's news is brought to you by my Patreon and YouTube members. Thanks, guys. You're the best. Let's have some more news. We got some updates here. Let's get them out of the way real quick. Those of you that follows the news on Fridays, I may have to extend that a little bit to maybe a couple days a week for a while to kind of get caught up. But you ought to recognize some of these stories, and you'll definitely recognize some of the pictures. Here's one. A villager is poised to escape prosecution after he was caught in an apparent sex act with another man at a local park. David Samuel Tanzi, 69, of the village of St. Catherine, has been allowed to enter into a pre-trial intervention contract that could allow him to avoid prosecution on a charge of indecent exposure. The contract calls on him to perform 30 hours of community service, although he can buy out of that service at a rate of $10 per hour. He is also forbidden to return to Lake Okahumpka Park, which is where he was arrested. And there's his update. A villager will lose her driver's license after crashing her golf cart into a minivan. Wendy Rose Schmick, 56, of the village of DeLuna, pleaded no contest this past week in Sumter County Court to a charge of driving under the influence. She will lose her license for 1 year, has been placed on probation for 1 year, and has been ordered to perform 80 hours of community service. And that's her update. Just a little reminder, once you lose your driver's license for any reason, you are also not allowed to drive your golf cart anywhere in or around the villages. An 81-year-old villager will escape prosecution after an alleged attack sparked by her frustration with her computer. Do you remember that? Lenore Smiley of the village of Santo Domingo will not be prosecuted on charges of battery and false imprisonment due to insufficient evidence, according to the announcement of no information from the prosecutor's office. Her $5,000 bond is being refunded. She was arrested April 8th at her home at 1801 Forsythia Way on felony charges of battery and false imprisonment. And that's our update. A son with a history of problems is back behind bars as a result of a revocation of his bond due to an attack on his parents. David Wayne Ruthland, 47, of the village of Caroline, was booked Thursday at the Lake County Jail. Our first little patio villa was on Caroline. I like Caroline. Rutland had been allowed to enter into a pretrial intervention program after he was arrested last year in an attack on a woman who drove him to a treatment center. The contract called on him to complete a batterer's intervention program and refrain from any unlawful activity. His $1,000 bond from the 2023 arrest had been in effect, but has now been revoked. The bond revocation was triggered as the result of an alleged attack on his parents in March at their home in the village of Caroline. Rutland's father was transported by ambulance to UF Health Leesburg Hospital as a result of the attack. Rutland's mother was able to call 911. Rutland appeared to be under the influence. So let's get on to some new news. A villager was arrested after allegedly revving his engine and speeding past a dog walker in a long-running feud in a patio villa community. The woman had been walking her dog on Crestwood Lane in the Crestwood Villas on Thursday morning when 81-year-old Joel Richard Jacobson was driving a small gray Hyundai SUV and pulled into the villa community in the village of Duval, according to the arrest report from Sumter County Sheriff's Office. The woman said she heard Jacobs loudly rev the SUV's engine when he came up behind her. He proceeded to quickly drive away at a high rate of speed and pulled into his own driveway. A witness saw what happened and dialed 911. The dog walker said she was in fear that vehicle would strike her, the report said. She told deputies that she and Jacobs have been in an ongoing neighborly dispute due to his excessive speeds in the neighborhood. She said that if she is out walking her dog, he will purposely accelerate his vehicle toward her in an attempt to intimidate her. She said this has been going on for 2 to 3 years. Both she and Jacobs live on the same street in Crestwood Villas. Jacobs was arrested on a felony charge of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. He was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $5,000 bond. Just another nut living in the villages. An unlicensed driver from Mexico was arrested on a drunk driving charge after a crash on U.S. Highway 301 in Sumter County. We'll just call him Victor. The name will be on the picture. 29 of Lakeland was driving a 2014 Nissan Pathfinder shortly before 11 p.m. Friday when he was involved in the crash on U.S. 301 near County Road 472 near Webster, according to the arrest report from the Florida Highway Patrol. Frias was identified by his Mexican passport, and it appeared he had been drinking. An investigator confirmed Frias never obtained a driver's license in the United States. Well, I wonder why not. Maybe because he's illegal? He agreed to take part in field sobriety exercises, but the poor performance led the investigator to conclude he had been driving impaired. Frias provided breath samples that registered .194 and .184 blood alcohol content. He was initially taken to UF Health, the Villages Hospital freestanding emergency room clinic at Brownwood for a medical evaluation. After he was cleared, he was booked on charges of driving under the influence and driving without a license at the Sumter County Detention Center. He was released after posting a $1,500 bond. Question. I had to take Sue to that freestanding Villages Hospital when she had her car accident, or a lady run into her at a parking lot, which actually totaled the car out. That's how bad this lady hit her. And I had to take her in because at that time, believe this or not, in the villages, we didn't have any ambulances that were available. And I had to take her up there myself in a golf cart. So we had no car. It was totaled out. Now, I know what the check-in was when I got there. Stand in line, go up to the desk. Do you have insurance? Give me your card. Give me your ID. Get a driver's license. They always say a picture ID. So I had to get my driver's license and our medical information, her Medicare card, and our insurance card. She has Blue Cross and Blue Shield, and I had to give it all to them. Then we go back there in the back, and they do what they got to do, and then you go home, right? Who paid for this guy? Guarantee you, he's got no insurance. He don't even have a driver's license, so he has no ID. Who checked him in with no ID? Who paid for the doctors? Who pays? That's my question. Who's paying for this? Why am I paying and this guy doesn't have to pay? Because I almost guarantee you he's not paying nothing. He don't have nothing to pay. You guys see a problem here? An uninsured speeder with a bogus license plate was arrested near the site of a new recreation center in the villages. Here we go again. People that don't live here, they're probably not even a resident of the United States here. They got cars, no insurance, no driver's license, and they come into this retirement community all the time. This is what I mean when I say beware. Joshua Alexander Logan, 25, of Orlando, 45 minutes from here, and he's here, was driving a blue Honda Coupe at 4:20 p.m. Monday in the vicinity of Central Parkway and Bexley Trail near the new Saluki Recreation Center when he was caught on radar traveling 54 miles per hour in a 35 miles per hour zone, according to the arrest report from Wildwood Police Department. I'll say one about Wildwood Police Department, man. They're Johnny on the spot down there. The vehicle had a temporary Virginia tab, but a check revealed it had been assigned to a 2020 Cadillac XT5 and had expired in 2023. Logan claimed he purchased the temporary tag from a friend for $100. I bet you he couldn't give you that friend's name or phone number. Betcha. The officer also found that Logan did not have insurance on the vehicle.
The Long Island, New York native
Was arrested on a misdemeanor charges of no motor vehicle registration, no insurance, and a felony charge of possession of a counterfeit license plate. He was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center on a $2,800 bond. Oh, God, here's another one. An unlicensed driver from Mexico was arrested for the second time in Lady Lake. Samuel, we'll just call him Sam. Sam, 32, of Lady Lake, was driving a black Chrysler SUV on Arlington Avenue at about 10:30 a.m. Sunday when he was caught on radar traveling 44 miles per hour in a 25 miles per hour zone, according to the arrest report of the Lady Lake Police Department. During a traffic stop at Jesu Torres' home at 246 Arlington Avenue, he indicated he speaks little English and handed the officer his Mexican passport. The officer confirmed that Jesus Torres does not have a driver's license. And the truth is, we don't even know that his Mexican passport was his passport. We don't know who this guy is at all. He's probably part of cartel. For far as we know, he's a cartel drug guy. We don't know who he is. He was arrested on a charge of driving without a license and booked at Lake County Jail. He was released after posting a measly $500 bond. In 2019, he was arrested on the same charge. He paid a fine of $480 and was placed on probation for 6 months. He has also been ticketed in 2014, over and over and over again. 2 men have been arrested in connection with the theft of $654 in merchandise at Walmart at Buffalo Ridge Plaza in the Villages. Matthew Allen Kaiby, 39, of Summerfield, left the store Monday afternoon with the merchandise and got into a car driven by 40-year-old Anthony Francis Arenas of Bellevue, according to the arrest report of Sumter County Sheriff's Office. Kaiby, or Kibby, K-I-B-B-E-Y, Kaiby was also found to be in possession of a glass pipe with the residue of methamphetamine. The Providence, Rhode Island native was arrested on charges of theft and possession of drug paraphernalia. He was booked without bond at the Sumter County Detention Center and has been free on bond after he was arrested in February. Arenas, who had previously been banned from Walmart, was arrested on a charge of trespassing. He was also in possession of marijuana and drug equipment. He was booked at the jail and released after posting a $1,500 bond. Arenas had been arrested last year at a car wash in Lady Lake. Right here is things that I just don't understand. If you can afford to spend, the average home price here is $400,000 and up, and you drive a car, not just a normal everyday Chevy, but you're driving like a Mercedes, you can afford all of that, and then you go out and shoplift? I just don't get it. But here's another one of these stories. A villager is suspected of stealing at Walmart and fleeing in her husband's BMW. Kathleen Ann Visgalio, 62, of the village of Atrium Dales, was arrested Tuesday on a warrant charging her with theft. She was tracked down thanks to detective work by the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. The Pennsylvania native went to the Walmart at Sarasota Plaza at about noon, March 28th, and selected multiple items according to the arrest report. She headed for the self-checkout aisle and used a 25-cent barcode to scan for some of the higher-priced items. She used a debit card to pay $17.68 for items that should have cost $92.96. She took her merchandise to a white BMW X3 and drove away. A detective found that she had used a debit card issued by Wells Fargo when she conducted the transaction. The debit card was in her husband's name. The white 2022 BMW X3 was also registered in his name. A check of her driver's license photo showed it was a match for surveillance images of the woman scanning the items with the 25-cent barcode in the self-checkout aisle. Biscalio is facing a charge of theft. She was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center. Apparently with no bond. It doesn't say anything about a bond. Makes me wonder. None of my business. There could be a lot of legal reasons why, but it sounds like everything is in her husband's name. She don't have her name on nothing. Why? I guess there could be 1,000 reasons. An unlicensed driver from Mexico was arrested in a hotel parking lot. Andres Domingo Jimenez, 35, of Tampa, was driving a red Toyota Corolla at about 6 p.m. Tuesday when he was traveling on County Road 44A and failed to stop at a stop sign when making a right turn onto State Road 44 in Wildwood, according to a arrest report from the Sumter County Sheriff's Office. During the traffic stop at the Holiday Inn Express, Jimenez handed the deputy a Mexican passport and admitted he does not have a driver's license. He said the vehicle belonged, let's say it together, to a friend. The deputy confirmed that Jimenez does not have a license. He was arrested on a charge of driving without a license. He was booked at the Sumter County Detention Center and released after posting a $150 bond. The vehicle was towed from the scene. Tell the so-called friend to come and pick it up. A villager was arrested after allegedly trying to peek into her neighbor's lanai. Mary Laura Welch, 72, of the village of Finney, has been charged with trespassing as a result of unwanted visits to her neighbor's property on Sand Pine Terrace. She was arrested on a warrant this past week charging her with trespassing. The arrest stems from an incident in January when Welch was caught on video surveillance on her neighbor's property. Welch attempted to look into the screened lanai of the home, according to the arrest report of Wildwood Police Department. The homeowner told police she does not feel safe and fears that Welch will escalate her behavior as time goes on. Very possible. Sounds like another nut job. At the time of the most recent incident, a long-standing trespass order against Welch was in place at the neighbor's home. It's been an issue that dates back to 2022 when Welch was placed on probation for trespassing at the neighbor's home. At the time, the increasingly worried neighbor had enrolled in the Home Watch program through Community Watch. The service provides property checks when a homeowner is out of town. When Community Watch personnel went to check on the neighbor's home, Welch was caught on surveillance asking the Community Watch driver, "Is her doorknob in good condition?" The neighbor told police she believed it was a part of an ongoing pattern of intimidation by Welch, who also left a note for her ordering her to liquidate her property. As a result of that incident, Welch was placed on probation for 1 year in order to perform 50 hours of community service. I'd order her into psychological check. I don't know what you call it. These people sound totally unbalanced to me. A woman who had been involved in a bizarre satanic ritual was pulled from underneath a bulldozer by a friend. Maritza Lynn Vandepol, 46, who is homeless, was arrested Wednesday afternoon after stealing $262 in merchandise from Dollar General on U.S. Highway 27 and 441, according to the arrest report of Lady Lake Police Department. Vandepol and her male companion, 50-year-old Michael Zito, had been caught on surveillance in the incident. Police were already aware of the pair as officers had earlier responded to a call in which they found Zito pulling Vanderpool out from underneath the bulldozer where she had been performing a satanic ritual by bathing herself in feces, the report said. Let me repeat that. She was performing a satanic ritual by bathing herself in feces. Another nut job in the villages. They were not arrested in that incident. Well, apparently there's no law that says you can't wipe your own poop all over your body in front of people, I guess, or around people, I guess. I would think that the health department would have some say-so about this. Cito, who is also homeless, I'm shocked, had previously been banned from Dollar General. An employee asked 5 times that he leave, but Zito, when he was taken into custody by police, he has found to be in possession of 2 glass pipes for smoking methamphetamine. Vanderpool, who was arrested last year on a trespassing charge, was booked at the Lake County Jail on a charge of theft. She was later released on her own recognizance. Why? She's a nut. Zito, a native of
Long Island, New York,
was arrested on charges of trespassing and possession of drug paraphernalia. He was also booked at the jail and released on his own recognizance. And I still say, why? He's nuts too. You'll probably find out, and I'm just guessing here, that both these people are illegal. Who knows where they come from or anything, but I made a statement a long time ago, and some people took offense to it. That's okay. I said, just because they come to America, what makes you think that their attitudes and things are going to change? If they were drug addicts in Brazil, they're going to be drug addicts here. And these people are satanic worshipers from wherever, and they still are here. How about a couple letters to the editor? To the editor, villagers need to consider the example they are setting for the next generation. Please stop feeding the wildlife, gators, turtles, ducks, for example, at Lake Sumter Landing. In spite of the signs that remind everyone not to feed these wild creatures, villagers just can't stop themselves. Don't look old and stupid. Follow the rules. Wildlife that is fed by humans become nuisance creatures that are eliminated by Florida Fish and Wildlife because they become dependent upon humans for food, and they are dangerous to us at the same time. Come on, people, step it up. Don't feed the creatures. Nature doesn't need your help. That's sent in by Jane Stavish from the village of Bonita. Well, Jane, she's correct. We should not be feeding our wildlife at all. And you go up to Lake Sumter, and it is a problem that they go to the movie theater or whatever, and they go down to the docks with their grandkids. And this is understandable, but you got to stop doing it. They throw the popcorn out there, and they're feeding the ducks and the fish and the whatever. There's signs all over up there. It's against the law. You're not allowed to feed wildlife in the state of Florida, but they do it anyway. But then again, if you get in your backyard, you see hummingbird feeders back there and things like that. Nobody says anything about those, but it's the same thing. So, I don't know. It is what it is. To the editor, the sidewalk on St. Charles Place near Alamanda Recreation Center has been torn up for months. People walking or jogging there have to use the golf cart path to make their way past the construction. Golf cart traffic has to divert to the car lane to avoid them, and cars sometimes cross over the center line to give pedestrians a wide berth. I'm not sure why it is taking so long to complete this eyesore project, but I am suspicious that if this occurred in the newer southern sections of the villages, it would have been mitigated much sooner. That's sent in by Richard Stowell from the village of Pennycamp. Well, Richard, I'll take your word for all that. I have no idea. If it's a safety problem or hazardous problem, I would think that would come under the Sumter County's Highway Department that needs to address this. So that's who I would call. The developer, I don't think, has anything to say when it comes to road safety or any of that kind of thing. But maybe they do. I don't know. But yeah, it is a concern if it's taking so long. Or generally speaking, around the villages, when they start to work on something to fix it, they fix it in pretty short order. How many holes in ones of golf did we get this week? Looks like we only got one. Lloyd Singh of the village of Belvedere got his first hole-in-one on Monday, May 20th, at hole number 4 at the Pimlico Executive Golf Course. He just started golfing in November 2023 after moving to the villages. Well, congratulations on your first hole-in-one there, Lloyd. Well, I think that's going to be the news for this week. I appreciate everybody watching and subscribing. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Make a comment below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, let us know. See you guys on Wednesday for Port Sutton. I think we're going to get back into Port Sutton, even though it's hotter than blazes out there. But we're going to try to get back in on Port Sutton at least 1 or 2 weeks before I have to go in for some more dental work. And after that, I don't want to promise you anything. So with that being said, I want to say thanks for subscribing. Thanks for watching. Thanks, Patreon members. Appreciate all of you. See you on the other side. Stay safe. Be well, be aware,
and don't leave your keys in the golf cart.